This week, our spotlight game is WinBack Covert Operations for the Nintendo 64. Came out in September of 1999. Was developed by Omega Force. WinBack is one of those games that doesn't always get talked about, but quietly influenced a lot of the industry. It was one of the first shooters to use a true duck and cover system, sliding up against walls, popping out to fire, ducking back in, that sort of thing. The basic language of a modern third person shooter kind of starts here, well before Resident Evil 4, Gears of War, that type of thing. You play as Jean Luc Cougar, who is infiltrating a laser control facility taken over by a paramilitary group. The environments are classic Nintendo 64, blocky hallways and industrial rooms, very functional. The movement, it's a little stiff. I've seen people go back and forth online about the controls to this game. It's one of those ones where they're not very intuitive, but once you learn them, you love them. Um, so yeah, aiming the laser pointer is really cool. Once you get into the rhythm, pacing, it all feels deliberate and satisfying. It rewards patience and room clearing and not run and gun chaos like something like GoldenEye would do. Playing it today, especially now that it's on Switch Online, you can really see the DNA that went into 2000s games like Resident Evil 4, which I mentioned a second ago. Shinji Mikami, I think that's how you say it. He was the director of Resident Evil 4, and he mentioned this game being an influence on that. So once you know that, the connection's obvious. It's not a flashy game. It's not going to blow someone away in 2025, but it's kind of a little historical oddity. It's one of those like I'm glad I played it because it helps me understand where modern shooters come from type games. And yeah, this was one that I owned back in the day because I'm a huge Metal Gear Solid fan, but I didn't get into Metal Gear Solid until I got a demo for Metal Gear Solid 2 when the PlayStation 2 first came out. And I think it came with a game called Zone of Enders. They advertised it had a Metal Gear Solid 2 demo. So I played that demo, loved it so much, I bought the first one. And then when the second game came out, I played the second one. So that's my Metal Gear Solid story. But yeah, I basically bought this in as my Nintendo 64 answer to Metal Gear Solid before I played it. And I don't know, marketing like that too, because it's written right on the box that this is Metal Gear Solid for the Nintendo 64. What were your thoughts?
Uh, I actually thought it didn't look that bad for the time,
Hmm.
because that's something I saw a lot in the like initial reviews that I had read. It's the movement is clunky, and for the amount of time I was able to spend on it, I won't say my ranking now, but I would say that this is definitely one of the games that I might change later on because I think I do need more time with the whole getting used to the game and the controls. It
Yeah.
the training mode is nice. Like I think everything is clear of what you're supposed to do in the game. I think it just takes a little more time to get used to. So maybe maybe in the future things move around. Who knows? That's always an option for us. And yeah, I mean, there's the clear Metal Gear Solid influence, whether that's acknowledged or not. And
I
yeah.
did some research on that, and they claim it was a coincidence because this game they weren't completely being developed at the same time, but this game was far enough along when Metal Gear Solid released that it was I don't know. They claim it's a coincidence.
Have you finished this game ever?
Y- Multiple times. It was one of the not recently. I think I might go back and do it though. But back in the day, I owned this on Nintendo 64. There's multiple endings, and I was one of the types that if I owned a game back then, I wanted to see every ending. So I definitely finished it for all three endings, possibly more. There was definitely a few nights we played the multiplayer deathmatch mode on this before deciding it wasn't as good as GoldenEye. I'll give GoldenEye that on this. Their multiplayer is always better. Um, there were a few games like that. Like I remember Jet Force Gemini had a deathmatch mode too that never really held up.
Mhm.
Third person is just it's not as good for deathmatch. I think the only two games that ever came close, well, Perfect Dark, obviously, and Turok. We played a lot of that. Turok 2 had a deathmatch. But yes, I've played a lot of this game.
Cool. Yeah, because I knew there was three endings, the normal, good and bad, or whatever they call it for that. And then yeah, I
Mhm.
wasn't sure how multiplayer translated for this one. I wasn't sure. But what are your opinions on that for multiplayer?
The control that's where the controls really fall apart. Like I could get used to them in the single player campaign because you could pace yourself and the enemy AI wasn't going to just run up on you. But in multiplayer matches, the controls for this game don't hold together as well. And again, I think third person is just not ideal for a shooter uh multiplayer match. I know some games have pulled it off, but as a whole, I would prefer first person for that. And yeah, I don't think the multiplayer was that good. It was just like almost an unwritten rule of the Nintendo 64 that you had to have a four-player mode of some kind because we got those four ports, so we gotta put a controller in each one.
Hey, I don't hate it. I wish that was more of a thing now.
Yeah.
I think they should be options for most games. So I in general I mostly agree with that. Uh, was there a second one? No, I forget. I didn't write it
No,
down.
there was versions on different systems, but there was like a PlayStation 2 version which I think might have even added some features. I never played it. And I believe there was a Game Boy version, Game Boy Color. I'm going to look that up real quick. But they weren't sequels. They were just versions of this. Nope, just Nintendo 64 and PlayStation 2, so my Game Boy memory was wrong.
Huh. Huh. So unlike
I'm
Metal Gear,
probably thinking of the Metal Gear Solid game they had on Game Boy.
right? Unlike Metal Gear Solid, it's just the one.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I was in the Wayback Machine last night looking up reviews of this game. I was on Game Informer, and they all gave it like 7 and 8s, and then at the
Mhm.
bottom of the web page, they have buy this game now, and they put the FuncoLand website, and I got stuck for like 10 minutes looking through the FuncoLand Wayback Machine website. It was
That's awesome.
awesome. Like I was looking at like it was an image from like 1999, I think, when this game came out, and they were still selling like Game Gear games on their website. I was like, man.
It has an 8.5 user score on Metacritic.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe we should put those in this segment more often.
Well, it's cool. Like once we get to the N64, we actually do get Metacritic scores.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so yeah, we'll include that when we get like the actual later games. All the reviews that I read, yeah, they were all none of them were like blown away by it, but a lot of them um, criticized the graphics, and then the second biggest criticism I saw was camera controls,
Oh, yes. I was
which
gonna
is
say
common
voice
for.
acting.
Oh, sure.
But again, at the
Sure.
time,
At a
voice acting in
time
games was just like that.
at a time, I mean, even now, like
Yeah.
again, we have games that have no voice acting. I would take like anything for
I
it.
mean, yeah, for a Nintendo 64 game, you're lucky there's voice acting in it. It wasn't easy for them to do. Like people made a huge deal about how much voice acting was in Conker's Bad Fur Day because it's hard to put it on that cartridge.
Right. Right. Exactly. So I could see that being a criticism as well. Camera controls, I think, were just the kind of how it was at the time. I think a lot of games
Yep.
in this era were trying to figure out how to control the cameras without having like dual sticks on both sides, and yeah. So I think that was pretty common. This one's right in the middle for me. Was there anything else before we get in the rankings? No.
No, it's just, oh, you usually ask who I'd recommend this to. I'd
Sure.
recommend it to anybody who is a fan of Nintendo 64 era games, who wants to see what Nintendo's answer to Metal Gear Solid was, because even though it wasn't intentional, I totally agree that that's what the marketing was going for, and it's definitely got the same vibes, as they say. So take a look at this game if you're looking for that, and just bear with the controls. You'll get used to them eventually, but they are awkward at first.
I had mine at 68. It's right around some other N64 games that I don't remember now, but it's right in the middle for me. I think it can move up if I go back and play it a little bit more. I only got about an hour before I had to stop and I just watched some other gameplay of it. Uh, but yeah, I don't know if there's as much motivation to go back to it, but I do think it is a pretty solid game, pun unintended, I guess. So, where did you have
Mhm.
it?
Well, I think we need a title for when somebody is nostalgia compromised, because I am nostalgia compromised on this one. Like I said, it was one of the games I owned growing up, so I played the heck out of it, loved it. I put this at number 29, which puts it right after Mario Golf and right ahead of Wario Land 4 on my list. I playing it this week for this segment made me want to do a full playthrough, which is kind of the thing that bumps up a game in my ranking. If I'm playing it here and I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to stop just because we're recording tonight. I'm going to go through this whole game. So yeah, 29, top 30 title right now.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I wish I had more time for it this week, but that's that's where it's going, and you get both of those perspectives